evening and welcome to Tyler Carlin tonight. So here's where the con stretches into full-blown psychosis. Yesterday we showed you the footage of Bondi proving that 3 of the most central assertions our leaders made about the Epstein investigation were untrue. They said a comprehensive client list never existed. That is a lie. They said every credible lead had been exhausted. That's a lie. They insisted no one in Trump's immediate orbit ever constructed the probe. Nuclear plants on fire lie. And when confronted, did they stammer out an apology? No, they detonated, they doubled down. They screamed, "Shut up, that's classified!" as the bonfire of their credibility lit up the night. Who acts like that? Well, sociopaths do. The commitment to lying in Washington is deeper and far more bipartisan than even the cynics suspected. We sometimes joke that Republicans and Democrats are on the same team when the cameras switch off. Turns out it's not a joke, it's Tuesday. And here's where it gets interesting. Deputy FBI Director Bongino took a day off from work on Friday after clashing at the White House with Attorney General Bondi over their handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. 4 sources familiar with the conflict told Axios. It also goes on to say that Bongino didn't come to work on Friday, leading some insiders to believe that he had quit. But administration officials say that he's still on the job, even as the internal tension over the Epstein case continues. Wow, amazing! Dissension and disarray in the Trump administration. Who could have seen that coming with, rock-solid alpha male characters like Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and patriots like Bondi? Really?
It's so unbelievable.
Consider the death of Jeffrey Epstein himself. Still unexplained, still uninvestigated. Bondi claims the surveillance cameras malfunction. Kash Patel probably suggests a shadowy Intel acid wipe the tapes. Dan Bongino says nothing because silence is easier than perjury. After combing through the sealed affidavits, we can tell you with certainty that Bondi's office never intended to publish anything approaching a real client roster. It was vaporwave, a promise designed to keep the rubes donating while the plutocrats bought beachfront property. Remember, Bondi told Fox that the list was on my desk. Then weeks later, she insists the list was a stack of unrelated invoices, message table receipts, and minibar charges. Anything but names. They were wrong. They got caught, and now they refuse to admit it. Elon Musk deletes his incriminating tweet. J.D. Vance quietly scrubs his "release the names" podcast segment. No corrections, no accountability. They just repeat the slogan, "Trust the plan." And when a White House reporter dares to press Carlin Leavitt, all she does is just wave her binder of talking points. Ongoing investigation, can't comment. In other words, we shredded the files and hope you're too distracted by culture war TikToks to notice. So let's pause on Bondi, the blonde woman who was supposed to restore integrity. This week, she paraded before cameras to declare that every viable lead had been chased to completion. Really? The name one high-profile arrest, show one sealed indictment. She can't because there isn't one. Yet the Attorney General lies with a straight face and the press corps nods like it's dashboard bobbleheads. They think you're stupid. They really do. They hate you. They hate your family and they hate your traditions, and they want to replace you with an obedient algorithm that never asks, "Hey, where's the Epstein evidence?" And at some point you have to wonder, is this even America anymore? They're replacing open records culture with sealed docket tyranny, and they're laughing while they do it. Something else happened yesterday. A whistleblower texted me saying, "You're not paranoid, you're just early." And he's right, because if requesting unredacted flight logs gets you branded as a domestic extremist, maybe Tehran would feel familiar. Same hospitality, fewer leaks. Now, the same cowards who buried the list are criminalizing whistleblowers. Meanwhile, staffers who physically destroyed evidence get promotions. Now, of course, we're not saying that's what happened, as we'll never know for sure. We're just asking questions. Is it wrong to ask questions? Maybe. Only Donald Trump's America is it now wrong to ask these questions. What actually happened to Jeffrey Epstein's client list and tape? Will we ever know? The message is unmistakable. Expose the lie, lose your badge, and protect the lie and collect a bonus. That's not law enforcement, that's a cartel. And where are our so-called tribunes of populism? Kash Patel built an online empire promising to nuke the deep state. Now he sits on the National Security Council, drafting memos reclassifying every Epstein document above top secret. Lindsey Graham once wept on camera for the victims. Today he calls them, collateral noise, distracting from the border crisis. Mitch McConnell, he mumbles something about process integrity and then retreats into an undisclosed bourbon cabinet. Weak men are vicious men, and these are the weakest men in American history. Selective releases? Bondi promised a full dump, and she lied, and Vance scolded us for noticing. That's not oversight, it's complicity. And here's the part where no one in corporate media will say out loud. They buried the list because it threatens both parties. A handful of donors bankroll every committee chair in Congress. And if even one appears on that roster, the gravy train derails. So they locked it in a vault and hired Bondi to stand guard and paid Bongino to shout "Deep State" at anyone who rattles the door. But you can't bury the truth indefinitely. Already the cracks are showing. Axios, forced by leakers, published that headline. Fox hosts are suddenly defiant. Grassroots MAGA accounts are calling Pam Bondi a fraud. The coalition of deceit is fraying and they know it. That's why they shriek when you ask for sunlight. All because cockroaches scatter when the bulbs flip on. The stakes go way beyond Epstein. If they normalize shredding evidence in a case this infamous, what happens to lesser scandals? Tainted groundwater in Ohio, wage theft in Arkansas, police brutality in Memphis. They'll vanish onto the same shredder, and you'll be told it's classified. So what is our job? Our job is to hold a flashlight, FOIA every docket, and sue for every email, drag Pam Bondi before a grand jury, and subpoena Dan Bongino's meltdown day calendar. Put Kash Patel under oath and ask, did you ever possess an unredacted client list? Yes or no? No winks, no quoted tweets, receipts, or resignation. They'll scream censorship. They'll threaten demonetization. They'll try to algorithmically throttle this channel. Good. That means the shrapnel is landing. Smash the subscribe button, hit a like, comment down what you think about this nonsense going on in this country, and share this with everyone who needs to know. And share it especially with the MAGA relatives. One voice can be cancelled. A million voices become a jury. They want to silence us, and instead we'll drown them in decibels. Remember, you'll eat what's for dinner, and you won't ask any questions if you comply. Refuse, and suddenly the menu changes. Keep asking, keep shining the light. We're just getting started, folks.